Алло, алло. Ну, як твої діла? Все окей? Ну, окей. Я зараз урок провожу. Так, давай. Я наберу тебе пізніше, окей? Угу. Ну, давай. Спокійної ночі.
Друзі, об'ява. Шукаємо найімовірніше, ви цього не знали, але все те, що зараз відбувається в Україні, дуже сильно нагадує події, які відомі в єврейському народі. І, до речі, ми зараз поступово наближаємось до єврейського свята, яке так і називається Урік, яке ми будемо відзначати 13-го, починаючи з вечора 13 березня. Я не буду зараз спойлерити, не буду зараз розповідати про це свято. Найкраще, що можна зробити, це Урік, але навіть назва свято Урік тобто череп. Трошки більше ніж 2000 років тому. відбувалося так зване жеребкування стосовно визначення долі єврейського народу і планувався геноцид, тобто знищення єврейського. Геноцид не відбувся за допомогою Божого дива, яке тоді відбулося. Що саме відбулося, друзі, ви прочитаєте самі. Я впевнена, що ви зможете погуглити всю цю історію. Але чому я про все це розповідаю? Я вірю, що я не те, що вірю, я впевнена, що вся ця історія стосовно заяв права, стосовно всього іншого, все це не просто зараз напередодні свята Порів. Але знаєте, що цікаво? Диво відбулося тоді, коли весь єврейський народ зготувався для колективної молитви, і коли єврейський народ взяв піст. Що є речі, над якими нам потрібно задуматися. Найімовірніше, ви цього не знали, але все те, що зараз відбувається в Україні, дуже сильно нагадує події, які відомі в єврейському народі під назвою Пурім. І, до речі, ми зараз послуховуємо називається Пурім, яке ми будемо.
Народ, подъем! Начинаем урок гимнастики. Палец и валять себя. Я свои. Ты подумай. В какое время мы живем? Антон, я кому говорю?
Кончили наклоны. Лягте на коврик. Следующее упражнение. Живота.
Мама, совершенно.
Приготовились.
Если ты в свой переломный возраст, тебя выйдет абсолютно бесполезно. Я дошел к обществу тип. Честь.
Нормально.
Что это ответ? Ты что, не можешь ответить нормально?
Я и говорю, нормально.
Эх, Антон, кого ты обманываешь? Я в твои годы. Не обманываю.
А когда ты начал?
Не дерзи. Давай, ешь. Убери локти со стола. Ты умеешь пользоваться столовыми приборами?
Угу. Вилку надо держать в левой руке, а яичницу в правой.
Эх, Антон.
Ну, я просто...
Вот именно. Оттуда вымой.
Hello.
Hello. Як ти? Все окей?
50-50.
Так, ну давай, відкриваємо. Не вийшло?
Трошки погано вас чутно, якщо чесно.
Алло, чути?
О, так да, чутно.
Ага. Добре, читаю. Page number 6.
Number 6, 1 second, please. Починаю. If it doesn't quite exist, it hasn't become fixed. And if it hasn't become fixed, it can still go away. In other words, I shut my
Це не
eyes
page number
against.
6, Ярослав. Page
I
number 6, I carried you down.
А, да, я тут просто в порядке на том закинул. I carried you down the hall and into the bathroom. Through the window, I saw a narrow band of light just above the eastern horizon, reddish against the black sky and the black ground. The house was cold, the night has been starlit, and the temperature must have dropped. But fortunately, the dryer had been on all night, and some of its heat, which at times seems almost tropical, still lingered in the room. I laid you down carefully on the changing table, which had been squeezed in between the bath and the sink, calling again. A blob of mucus came loose in my throat. It spay into the sink. Turned on the tap to wash it down. Somehow it clung to the metal wall of the black hole, smooth and sticky. While water ran over on both sides until it slowly began to slide over to one side and then abruptly, as if acting of its own volition, disappeared down the drain. I glanced briefly at the mirror about the sink, saw my own mask-like face staring at me, turned off the tap, and bent over you. You looked up at me. If you were thinking about something, it couldn't have been put into words or concepts. It couldn't be anything you formulated to yourself, only something you felt. There he is maybe what you feel as you look at me, and along with the face you reckon that came a full set of other feelings associated with what I usually did with you and in what ways. A great deal must still have been vague and open within
Vague,
you.
vague, vague.
And open within you, like the shifting light in the sky. But once in a while, everything must have fused together and become benefit and unavo- unav-
Unavoidable, unavoidable.
unavoidable. Those were the basic bodily sensations, the tide of hunger, the tide of thirst, the tide in tiredness, the tide of too hot and too cold. Those were the times you started to cry. What do you think? I say to distract you a little as I
Спасибо.
just... Тут трошки непонятно, яка тут
Undid.
кількість.
Там починається з undid.
Так, все знайшов. Unleash the top bottoms of your white pajamas. But you still search, як це правильно? Tart.
But you still thrust, кидати.
Мгм. Out your lower lip and your mouth began to quiver.
Quiver. Ну, якби, да, це, типу, як пускаєш нижню губу, і твій рот починає труситися.
Mhm. With my index finger, I struck the tail of one of the little wooden aeroplanes hanging above the changing table so that it began revolving. Then I did the same with the next one and the next after that. Don't tell me you're going to fall for the same old trick today too, I say. But you did. You stared wide-eyed at all the movement in air while I took off my pajamas. As I put them in the laundry basket, steps sounded on the Sailing about youth. It must have been your younger sister, since the elder one always sleep.
Since. Since.
Since, не science?
Ні, since.
Я теж постійно думав, що science таке. As long as she could, and your brother was probably up already. I loosened the flaps of the nappy and pulled it off. As I carried it over to the waste bin, it felt unexceptionally heavy, as nappies often do, since the material creates an expectation of lightness. That weight felt good. It told me that were all right, that your body was functioning as it should. Everything else is similar to the falling apart from the fluorescent tube about the stove.
Fluorescent tube. Above the stove. Да, флуоресцентна трубка над плитою.
The stove, which had begun blinking
Begun. Begun. Begin.
begun,
Began. Begun.
mhm, blinking more than a year ago, and then gone out completely, and which still remained uselessly in his socket to the car, which had suddenly begun to vibrate whenever it passed at certain speed, and had been collected by a tow truck and taken to the garage. To say nothing of all the food that got moldy or spoiled. Short buttons,
Moldy. That got moldy or spoiled.
mhm,
Mold це плісень. Moldy пліснява. Плесневая. Spoiled. Від слова spoil пропасть, що-небудь, що, ну, зіпсувалось, да? Тобто мова йде про їжу. Їжа, яка запліснявила або зіпсувалась. Got spoiled.
якось спортилось, да. Short buttons that fill up off or zips then that got stuck. The dishwasher which had stopped functioning. Як це functioning чи functioning?
Functioning.
А, зрозуміло. Or the kitchen sink drain pipe, which had got clogged somewhere in the garden, probably which congealed grease. The plumber said when he come to
Grease.
fix
Grease це жир.
це жир.
Да, grease це жир.
Мгм. But the bodies of the children in our house so smooth and soft on the outside and infinitely more complex than any machine or mechanical. Сейчас, секунду, пожалуйста, я води поп'ю, тому що в мене і горло пересохло і глаза болять. Ой. Ага, води в мене нема. Почекайте, будь ласка, одну секунду, я води собі наберу, добре.
Добре.
Дякую. Так, я знову тут. Зараз. Восьма це firstly? Чи що?
Так ти, ну, да, ти ще не дочитав. Any machine or mechanical.
Це
Далі,
я дочитав.
да, device on the inside.
Все знайшов, да. Device on the inside had always functioned perfectly, had
Fun,
never
fun, functioned.
functioned perfectly, had never broken down, had never gone to pieces. I put on a new happy, widened the opening of a romper, sewed it with my hands, and pulled it over your head. You moved your legs and arms slowly, like a reptile. I lifted you up and you into the kitchen just as your younger sister came in, barefoot and narrow-eyed with sleep. Good morning, I said. Did you sleep well? She nodded. Can I hold you? Yes, that would be great. Said. Then I'll make here some milk. Here, sit on the bench. She sat down on the bench and I handed you to her. While I filled the bright yellow electric kettle with water, got out the milk formula and the bottle, measured out 6 spoons, and poured them into the lukewarm water. You half sat, half lay in her lap, kicking your feet. She's pretty happy, I think, your sister said, taking your little first in her arm, which suddenly seemed big. She was 9 years old and given to thinking more about others than about herself. A character trait of hers that I had often wondered about. What had caused it? She had a light-filled soul. Life flowed through her without encountering many obstacles, and maybe the fact that she didn't doubt herself, didn't question herself, somehow meant that what was herself didn't demand and any effort or exertion, leaving plenty of space within her for other.
Exertion– это усилие. Это попытка, effort, exertion– усилие. Оставляя много места при нее для других людей.
If I got angry with her and raised my voice even a little, she reacted strongly. She began to cry so despairingly that I couldn't stand in the many corners of the house, which she sought out to be alone in her misery. But that almost never happened. Можете ви, пожалуйста, одну сторінку прочитати? У мене глаза вже слізаться. Я моргаю цілий рази 4.
Firstly, because she hardly ever did anything wrong. Secondly, because the consequences were so dire. Go. Yes, that's good, I said as I screwed the cap on. Bend the soft rubber seat to the side with my thumb so the milk wouldn't spit out of and shook the bottle. In the eastern sky, the red band had grown, and the color seemed to have become diluted, while the sky above it had paled. The ground, which stretched flatly away in every direction, hadn't begun to reflect the light, nor had the trees in the garden outside. On the contrary, they seemed to suck it up, so that the blackness slowly filled with grayish grains, as if swollen with darkness. Do you want to feed her? I said. She nodded. But first I have to go to the loo. I took you on my arm and went into the living room, where your brother was lying on the sofa with a Mac in front of him, playing computer games. He was wearing green pajamas that were too small for him, and his hair was tousled. So this is where you are, I said. Have you been up a long time? Yes, he said, gazing at the screen. You know you're not allowed to play on the computer in the morning. Yes, he said. He looked up at me and smiled. You peered at the lamp on the bookshelf. But there is nothing else to do, he said. You can read, I said. That's boring, he said. Well, you can get dressed then, I said and sat down. Or maybe you think that's boring too?
Що ви 10? Yes, he said, laughing. Everything is boring. I laid you on my lap with the back of your head resting against my knees, which I lifted so that you were almost sitting up and meet your gaze. You flung out your arms and made a gurgling sound. What did you just think about? I said. You looked eagerly at me. Do you know what we're doing today? I said. You seemed to want to move your head, but didn't have full control over it, and it fell a little to the side. We're going to visit Mommy in Helsingborg, I said. We'll drive there after taken the other to school. I want to visit Mommy too. Your brother said, curling up to next to us. You keep staring at me with wide open eyes. We will just sit like this a couple of times a day. It was a sort of exercise we did, and it had come about through fear for when you were newborn. I couldn't quite connect with you. The first months of your life you slept nearly the entire time, and when you weren't sleeping, you usually looked away. It was a trait I didn't recognize from your sibling. On your contrary, I seemed to remember that they had me to my gaze with open,
Не
curious eyes.
seemed, seemed. Seemed, I seemed to remember.
Seemed.
Mm-hmm.
Надо запомнить. If I serve them, the person they were, they seemed to emerge through their eyes. If their inner world was like a forest on undifferentiated sensations, these moments were like a glade within it, a sudden clearing. In your eyes, I didn't see that you were never quite present in your gaze, and it made me afraid. I saw something was wrong. I thought you might have brain damage that you were autistic. Autistic. I spoke to no one about this, for I believe that something become true if it is spoken. If it isn't spoken, it is as if doesn't quite exist, and
Quite exist. If it is not spoken, it is as if it doesn't quite exist. Exist, существовать.
mhm, doesn't
So,
quite exist.
and if it doesn't quite exist, it hasn't become fixed. And if it hasn't become fixed, it can still go away. In other
Чит-
words, Давай я половину ты помню. In other words, I shut my eyes against anything unpleasant. This was more than unpleasant, it was fateful. You didn't look at us. It lasted for a month. Then slowly you emerged. You became more and more present in the room, and not just within yourself. And when I saw that you were emerging through your eyes, and that gradually there was even joy in them, my anxiety vanished. You were born a month early, and maybe that was why maybe you needed those extra weeks to yourself. But the fright it gave me made me take extra care to speak to you, look at you, chat with you, fool around you. Okay, it's time.
Mhm. I had been afraid you might be brain damaged or autistic because your mother had been given some powerful medication. And one time while she was accepting you. She had been in extreme distress, and the medication which helped her was adjusted to you too. So there was no real danger, but to be on the safe side, you were delivered in a special ward and monitored for the first week. There were no signs that anything was wrong. You were perfectly sound and healthy, but still that you avoided our gaze and preferred to look away that we tried to make eye contact was something I couldn't help worrying about. On the other hand, I know how robust and strong infants are and how much irritating to disrupt their psychological life course. Then the mother's varying states of mind might affect them. For instance,
Physiological, not psychological, physiological.
physiological.
Physiological, да.
Mhm. For instance, and as they lay bobbing in the lukewarm water of the womb, I didn't believe in the slightest. Although they live in symbiosis with you, they are also autonomous in the sense that the genetic codes determining their growth are fixed from
Determined,
the women
determined,
determ
in the sense that the genetic codes
determine
determining the growth.
are fixed from the women on conception. Так.
Мгм.
Яка вже сторінка йде по рахунку?
11.
11.
Ні,
Зараз
це ми почитали
зайду.
12.
А,
12.
це, значить, це вже 13. Зараз переверну. People understood this in earlier times. I have sometimes thought. The old concept or fate expressed this too. That so much of what will happen has early been decided when she child is born. All of us are going to visit mommy's son, I say. But today you have to go to school. What if I don't want to? He said. When I goes, I'll have to carry you, I said. Just as then your sister came in and sat down next to us, gentle and still a little sleepy in the movements. Movements, як це правильно кажеться? Movements.
Увага! Повітряна тривога. Пройдіть найближче укриття.
Не чутно?
Да, да, чутно.
Як правильно? Movements, кажеться.
Який абзац?
Увага! Повітряна тривога.
Um,
Пройдіть найближче
just
укриття.
then your sister came. What's it?
Just then your sister came in and sat down next to us, gentle and still a little sleepy in her movements.
Oh, все понял. Сейчас. When you get home, Grandma will be here. I said, she will? Your sister said, yes. Your brother said, she looking expectantly, 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 and me.
Expectantly. Ожидаемо. Expectant.
And me. Can I sleep in her bed? I should think so, I said. But tonight is Valpurgis
Да,
night.
дивись, це таке свято приходу весни в Скандинавії. Там запалюють вогнище, багаття. Така от вона
Mm.
називається Вальпургієва якби ніч. Це щось таке, от, як стрітення в Україні раніше було, коли
А,
зиму замінювала весна. Тільки не Івана Купала, а от ще раніше. От саме коли весна прийшла.
зрозумів.
Валпургієва ніч.
Remember? So you're probably going to stay up later than usual. Is Grandma going to join us? That I don't know, I said and stood up. Could you hold here for a while so I can go and have some coffee? Your sister knew, and I laid you in the crook of her arm and handed her to the bottle, which she immediately put in your mouth. You can come and get me if you need any help, I said, looking at your brother. Can you handle that? Of course, your sister said to focus it on her task to look up at me. Come and get me if you need me, I said against and went out into the kitchen. Made myself a cup of
А,
coffee.
готово? Так.
Продовжувати?
Так. Да, да, продовжуй. Coffee. I carried it.
Carried it with me into the hall, stuck my feet in my shoes, and opened the door. The cool spring air settled over my face like a film.
Мгм. 14.
Сейчас, секунду, переверну 14. The sun had come up over the horizon. The blazing
The
orange light
horizon. Horizon.
horizon. The blazing orange light is so clear and concentrated in the sky above was dispersed by the sun's tremendous distance and seemed to have dissolved into the air down here, which was bricked and light and fell over
Скажіть,
every
яке це було?
surface where it was reflected in soft colors, except where the rays of the sun shone directly as on the top of the apple tree, where the half unfurled leaves sparkled like little mirrors. I walked across the yard to the house on the other side, which I used as an office, and where I couldn't smoke. It had been a workshop when we bought the property and others,
Property. We bought the property.
mhm, and
Имущество,
others.
property. And although
I had covered every wall with a book. It still bore side
science, знаки,
the,
science, of its formulas.
of its former use. In some indefinite, indefinite,
Define, indefinable,
indefinable.
indefinable.
Mhm. They seemed to have been fitted out to accommodate, accommodate crude,
Accommodate, разместить, accommodate, разместить.
mhm, crude mechanical operations, connecting it to outdoor activities.
Activities.
Activities, rather like a garage, which neither the rugs on the floors nor the pictures on the walls could do more than gloss over. I sat down in the chair in the corner. I peel off envelopes containing bills lay on the table next to it. They were my bad conscience, 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 як це правильно, conscience,
Conscience. No.
правильно. I never seemed to get around to paying them. And when I finally did, it was always so late that reminders and debt collection notices had already been sent. It was so simple, all you had to was pay. I had money, and yet it was only through huge exertion, then I managed to get it down. On top of the bill lay a bill from Krugerfogden, the Swedish enforcement authority. It was a serious matter. If the bill wasn't paid, they would come knocking on our door. It had happened
Knocking. No, no, no. If the bill wasn't paid, they would come knocking on our door.
knocking.
Knocking. Стукати. Стучать.
Це я знаю.
Мгм.
It had happened once while we were living in Malmo, and once more since we moved here. Oh, I took the envelope, opened it, placed the bill on the table in front of me, turned it on the Mac, went to the bank's home.
Угу. Ну, все, в принципі. Урок провели. Піду
Фу.
тоді на карту.
Да, зараз кину.
Мгм.
One second, please. Що-то я аж розчитався, тому що раніше було набагато більше запинок таких.
Good.
Не знаю, замітно так чи ні.
Головне, що ти
На ту
це
ж саму
не
карту
забуваєш.
скидати.
Да, на 0,65.
Ну, да, зараз. Ну.